now request IMA member Mr. Sushil Dubey to escort our esteemed guest speaker Mr. Ranjan Sharma on stage.
Speakers of the session, and since so much have been told about the importance of HR function and description, I am not an HR person, but I have worked closely with HR people since they have been reporting to me, or I was a part of the team where HR would come across to me time and again. So I would just a little bit speak from their point of view. Human resources is perhaps the most challenging but slightly underrated function in the management functions. Expectations from all stakeholders, employees, employers, government, everyone wants that HR should perform. If the company is doing well, HR is, why we are not getting more people, why people are not coming to us. If company is not doing well, we are not motivating the employees enough. If we are doing okay, we are not training them enough. These kind of challenges keep coming. So it's slightly underrated, and it's a function which is distant from the spotlight. It's not marketing, it is not shop floor, it is not finance. But it's so satisfying to work in HR. So still it keeps attracting talents, like Chani said, like various people said, that why they have come into this profession. See, this is so accomplishment. You feel accomplished when you train people, when you see people growing. They may continue, they may not continue, but you see that they are performing in various parts of the world, various functions in various different companies. So it's great to have this particular session, exclusive HR function, and with so many dignitaries across the industry, professionals, practicing professionals, academicians. So we look forward to a very big session, very interactive session. As Navinji said, please ask bold questions. This is your time, because normally HR is said, okay, we'll see it later. Being a CEO, you'll say, okay, we'll see it later. Come after I finish the marketing meeting. Okay. So, thank you so much. Now, can we play the AV for Mr. Ranjan Mishra? Mr. Ranjan Mishra is the director of Diebold Nixdorf. Sorry?
You got it.
Thank you. Senior director of this company, a German company. I in fact intercepted him and asked him whether I can pronounce it right, but I did it so. So let's play the AV and let's listen to him. Thank you.
From building organizations from the ground up to driving HR transformation across global business lines, Ranjan Mishra has done it all. With over 30 years of HR leadership experience, Mr. Mishra's journey spans across leading global organizations in the telecom, technology, financial services, FMCG, and manufacturing sectors. His signature style, blending strategic foresight with executional excellence and placing people at the heart of business transformation. Currently leading the HR charter for Diebold Nixdorf APAC. His work is focused on moving the organization from good to great, building a future-ready workforce, strengthening culture, and making HR a proactive business enabler. Whether driving M&As, leading digital HR initiatives, or designing inclusive talent strategies, Ranjan believes in creating workplaces that empower, perform, and evolve. Presenting the HR changemaker, strategist, and culture builder, Mr. Ranjan Mishra.
May I invite Ranjan to share his experience on this, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Am I audible till the end? Great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me start my conversation by first saying thanks to some of the people who made this fantastic day happen. Shonali Paul, Director IMA, Naveen Khandelwal, President, Chahani Trivedi, Honorary Secretary, and also Mr. Juneja, Treasurer, very important person. Absolutely my honor and privilege to be here and talk about something which is very, very pertinent about vision from vision to execution, shaping the HR in this new era. What I'm going to talk about is not any model or a prescription to shape the vision of HR. I'll leave that. I have some professors to do that, isn't it? They are better at doing. So I have my dear friend sitting here. I'll leave that choice to him. What I am going to talk about is picking certain examples and some metaphors and trying to bring them back to what we are trying to achieve. Let me just start. You know, if you look at this slide behind, you will see HR has made growth right from 1890 till onwards. It all started with the Industrial Revolution. The job was more of a welfare officer looking, as somebody said, taking the attendance and making sure that you are paid on time, although some of them were not paying on time. Moved to the labor and labor manager. Let me tell you one thing. We must be extremely thankful to the armed forces. Lot of concepts moved into the HR from armed forces. You will be amazed to know that in the First World War, the assessment tests existed. I'm talking about the psychometric test. In the First World War, psychometric test existed. We still talk, and because I'm taking this liberty, gentlemen and ladies, to talk, because I presume most of the people come from HR. So if I'm using certain words which are not clear, you can ask me, stop me and ask me. Most of you talk about 360 degree, correct? 360 degree assessment, and we think it is very new. To give you a surprise, this was started in 1920 by German army. The things like unity of command, unity of direction, performance management, the reports that they write in Indian Army, if anybody is sitting here, or in any armed forces, is phenomenal. So we must be thankful. Maybe one of the reasons is that was one of the established institutions of that time which was managing the people so professionally. And HR people later embraced it. Let me just talk about, as we move forward and came to the later part of this journey, sometimes if you talk about India, and because most of the people sitting here are from that background, we had two incidents very closely. One, Rajiv Gandhi at a point of time accidentally came into the politics. Why I'm saying accidentally? Because he loved flying. And during that time, he was a man of future. So he brought in the computers, and he also thought that we need to have a holistic view. And we cannot keep education separate, we can't keep culture separate, we can't keep youth separate. So those of you who are youngsters and have started a little late, he put them all together and started the HRD ministry. Recently, immediately after that, we opened the market, and a lot of multinationals started setting the shops in India, okay? And that gave another impetus, another momentum for HR practices to evolve and grow. Now, if you look at the role continued to change from, compliance, traditional mindset, limited scope, more of a controlling of people, union management. This used to be a very important exercise. If you look at, 20, 25, 30 years back when I started my career. Then it migrated to the human resource management, and later from 2000 onwards, it is being seen as a strategic HR, okay? Wherein you are getting into the partnership, you are talking about the things which are more like diversity, inclusivity, and enablement. You're talking about the assessments, you're talking about the hybrid culture that was being given. So some of the organizations have done phenomenally well. Some of the organizations are trying to improve and some left behind. Let us try to understand why is it so imperative at this point of time, looking into this background, very important to change, or what we are talking about is shaping the era. There is a rapid tech advancement. You would have heard, there's an AI. So if you are looking at something, if you are searching the mantra, there are 5 other companies, okay, they are inputting you using the AI. There is machine learning. It is A, important to understand for the HR person. B, it is equally important to embrace. Second point is shifting employee expectation. The employee of today is not the same employee when I started. Today, you have 4 generations that are working under one roof, and maybe here, as I'm talking, there are 4 generations that are sitting. They all come with a different expectation. What kicks them, what excites them is different, but if we are trying to manage them from this one tool, one policy, it's going to be a little difficult. Next thing is business demands the strategic partnership. Business looks at HR not as the one that they were looking 20 years back. They are looking at you more as a partner on the table. They are looking at you as a sounding board. They are looking at you if I am planning to start a new business, if I am trying to diversify, how can you contribute into that journey is what business is looking at. And of course, changing talent landscape. We have people sitting all across. Now we have got this work from anywhere, flexible workforces. Let me tell you, in my organization, we have divided the organization into 3 personas, okay? Anchored, remote, and flexible. So anchored are the people who need to come to the office every day. Remote are the people who need not to come to office, okay? And pardon me, sir, says something like a lawyer. Either he need to go to the court, or he need to come and block the office, talk to the managing director for some time, and then he can go back. So he comes into the remote. And rest of the people come into the flexible. So in this diverse and dispersed group, how is it that you are going to arrive at a consistency of communication, at the consistency of decision making? That is what throws another challenge. Let me start my story. Somebody talked about Sachin Tendulkar, isn't it? All of us know these 3 gentlemen very well, correct? The fantastic ambassador of cricket. The first one is Sunil Gavaskar, correct? A person who sort of set the standards against that ferocious bowling of Caribbeans, which was all that Marshall, Garner, and all that stuff. And he played 125 matches, scored 34 centuries with 10,000 plus runs at an average of around 51. What an illustrious career he had. But by then, the landscape started changing. If you want to become World Cup winner, you need to come into the scope of one-day match. As it happens with HR, as it happens with business, as it happens with the industry. This person has played more than 100 matches. He played his first match in 1978. And on one side, he scored 34 centuries. Any idea how many centuries has this guy scored in the 1 days? 1. Okay? Played for more than 14 years. 1 days he played more than 14 years. Hit his century in the fag end of his career. So he could not, despite of being the best of that time, he held all the records of batting at that point of time, but could not manage. Then comes the second gentleman called Sachin Ramesh Tendulkar, a 17-year-old kid, okay, who entered the Pakistan, and of that time, Abdul Qadir was the guy. He hit 3 sixes in 1 over after getting challenged from Abdul Qadir. By then, what has happened, the rules of the game changed. When this person came, with our love and affection to this guy, we started calling him God of Cricket. What? God of Cricket. 200 tests, 54, at an average of 54, around 15,200 odd runs, and whopping 51 centuries. He also scored 49 centuries in 1 day. So he was the guy who hit century of centuries. Okay? But again, time changed. Customer expectation changed. Ecosystem changed. And level playing field was not there because people started going for T20. Do you know how many T20s he played? 1. Against South Africa and hit 10 runs. That's all. After that, he played for 6 seasons for IPL for Mumbai Indians and scored only 1 century at the average of 34. And then comes this another gentleman called King Kohli. Isn't it? Virat Kohli. While the previous 2 were from the what we called at that point of time nursery of cricket, Mumbai, this rock star came from Delhi. Okay? And shattered all the records across in all the 3 formats. Broke the record of Sachin Tendulkar of 51 centuries in 1 day, scored 30 centuries in 123 odd matches, and then did phenomenally well. His average of T20 is better than Sachin Tendulkar's average in 1 day. Now I understand, neither am I commentator, nor all of us are trying to have a class here of cricket. Correct? Why am I talking? Every time the ecosystem changes, even the gods cannot match up to the requirement if you are not able to upgrade. So therefore, the first message that I want to drive down in today's morning is it is imperative to build the capability to survive the new grounds if you want to shape the HR of the next era. Okay? So just keep this with you and I'll move on and try to circle it back. Let me go to another metaphor, a very interesting one. Are you guys aware of this story? This is the story of Choluteca Bridge in Honduras. Okay? Honduras is a small, tiny country in the Central America. Ill famous for the typhoons and hurricanes. Okay? So they wanted to make this bridge on the river, which is Choluteca. So Americans, they entrusted their own engineers and they gave this job to Japanese. So they made this 484-meter bridge, started in 1996 and finished in 1998. But as I said, this place is known for hurricanes and storms. This storm hit in 1998. It was a storm of 5th degree, okay, and 75 inches of rain came in 5 days, which was the average of 6 months for them. Entire country was devastated, and all the buildings, all the bridges were destroyed. But this bridge stood. This bridge stood the time. So when people came out after the rain and everything subsided, they saw bridges still standing. But river channel changed. So this was bridge to nowhere. This is what happens many times. We work very hard in our life. We garner skills. okay, to solve a problem, but problem changes. This is what many times happens. So it is very, very much important for each one of us that build these skills. It is not important being perfect, but it is, it is built to adopt. So it's very important. Maybe earlier we used to say build to last. Somebody took that phrase out, isn't it? What is more relevant today is build to adapt. As Darwin says, the species that are going to survive for longer are not those who are intelligent or strong, but those who are flexible. So that's another point I want you to carry before I move on to the next one. Very, very important when you're trying to build the vision or trying to shape the HR, that you keep the resilience for the changes that are around. You are keeping the adaptability, using the learning patterns, and your flexibility to offer the solutions. Don't make the solutions, don't make the strategy that's going to last. Okay? Make that's going to adapt. Let me just move on to another story of mine. And that is, let me challenge our gray matters. Who are these two gentlemen? Anyone? All of you know? All of you know. This gentleman is Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Manik Shaw, who became Field Marshal as well, correct? Towards the fag end of his career, he was awarded the Field Marshal. And right-hand side is TN Session. Most of you knew TN Session? Yeah, okay. Do you know one retired in 1973 and other one retired in 1996, but you still know? Now let me ask, ladies and gentlemen and fellow colleagues, another question to you. Who is your current chief? Let's not Google. Let me know who is your current Chief of Army Staff and who is your existing Chief Election Commissioner. Some of you may know, who are intelligent. Most of you may not know. No disregard or no disrespect to these two gentlemen. They are far more qualified than the previous two pictures that I have shown. Mr. T.N. Session studied from Presidency College of Madras. Okay? This person is IIT Kanpur civil engineer. Both studied in Harvard. When you are coming to the Chief of Army Staff, PVSM, Param Vishis Seva Medal, all the things this gentleman also has. But do you remember why you do not remember his name? One is existing, one was ages before. What could be the reason? It is very important for each one of the HR guy to reflect on this. Are you in that category or you are in today's category? With very sincere apologies, I'm trying to say I'm not trying to disrespect anyone. Please, I should not be quoted out of context. Both the gentlemen are equally respected, equally regarded. So the point I'm trying to drive down is something different. Point I'm trying to drive down is, are you just in the role or are you defining the role? In one of the interviews, T.N. Session said, I eat politicians in my breakfast. I'm not saying you start eating politicians. But the point that is very important is, when you are being appointed by a CEO and so, very important, are you able to hold the line for which you are appointed? Or you are just a yes person? If you are, people will not remember you. You look at your career, you remember, idealize the people who held the line, who were with ethics, who were on the right side. Whether you have artificial intelligence, machine learning, Java full stack, whatever, this thing will not change. So it is very important if you want to shape the HR of tomorrow, you need to have the power of role making. Don't take the role. I dislike when out of humility, and we all are very nice people, isn't it? We say it's a very big shoes to get in, isn't it? To me, it is a mental slavery. You are going to do the same thing that the previous guy was doing. You are not ready to think out of the box. You are not ready to define when you get into the role, how different, what different are you going to do? You just want to remove your shoes and get into that shoes. To me, it's not right. Carry your own shoes, run your own race. Okay. Coming on to my later part, which is there are 3 vantage points when you are trying to set this strategy for your organization, for your HR team, or for your HR strategy for your organization or group that you work for. One is a balcony view. I call it balcony view, wherein you are looking at how your talent acquisition, and I'm sorry I'm getting a little bit into the granularity, but how your talent acquisition is going to speak to talent development. How the feedback of performance appraisal is going to flow back to the learning and development. Okay? What are the things that you need to keep it to yourself, and what are the things that you are going to outsource? Are there certain mundane activities like printing the letter for somebody who wants the housing, permanent address and all that? Are we still doing that? If we are, there is a need to revisit and rethink. So structure your function in a little broader manner. When you're coming to the treetop view, from here you are looking at how are you connected and speaking to the rest of the functions. Okay? How are you talking to finance? How are you talking to the strategy? How are you talking to the marketing? And therefore, it is very important, therefore, for each and every HR guy to understand the business. If you're not understanding the business, you cannot get there. If there is a need, we are saying that we are going from geography to product driven. We are approaching. There is a change in the go-to-market strategy. Are your assessments speaking the same thing? Are your learning and development focused on the same thing? Is your reward, so is your annual bonuses are changed and drifted towards that? If not, then you are just a function who is slowly going to lose out your credibility over a period of time. So that is something which I am trying to say and then the last one is the helicopter view. Helicopter view is scanning the entire marketplace, is scanning how the ecosystem is changing and evolving. You cannot stay a myopic approach and still have the best of the talent in the market, retain the best of the talent in the market. So you need to have an outside in, a zoom in, zoom out approach to have the best of the everything. Therefore, what I'm trying to say, when you are shaping the vision for HR, a vision without execution is hallucination. The joy is in the result. Very, very much important that when you are making this strategy, you are not sitting in Mumbai or Delhi and making a strategy for the last mile who is in Gorakhpur. Okay? If you are doing that, you need to have a mechanism from where the last mile or the frontline sales guy is able to give you the feedback. So keeping these two ends connected and have a regular feedback mechanism is very much important. So this comes to probably my last slide, unlocking the strategic potential of HR. So let's try to do certain things which are right, okay? And this is applicable in all the eras, including this one. Align the HR strategies with business outcome. As I said, you cannot have your own strategy. The HR strategy has to be the subset of business strategy. Data-driven decision making. All of us, because we have worked In HR, I've seen many people. 10,000 इंटरव्यू लिया यार बंदा देख के बता देता हूँ सही है या नहीं है. Maybe yes, maybe some people are blessed with that type of a ability, isn't it? And you did that type of a job. You said you were going to the campus and all. But are you using data as a surrogate information before taking a call? It's as we are growing, complexity is increasing, technology is available at your doorstep. Make best use of it to drive your decisions. Don't try to take the gut of your past, your wisdom of experience only. Use both, mix both, and then take a call. Take an outside-in approach. I did talk about this. It's very, very much important to manage the talent. What are the best practices in the market? Let me tell you, today if there is one of the biggest challenge that most of the companies are facing is building a right talent pipeline. You saw Infosys? Mr. Narayan Murthy at one point of time said that I am going to Haridwar and I'm hanging my boots and I'm going out. He had to come back when the company was not performing. It is very much important, and that responsibility lies with you to co-create a strategy with business leaders. Focus on deliverables, not doables. I need to do this, this is my scope, that is your scope. You're going to become an obsolete very soon. What you need to deliver as a function, what you need to deliver as a professional is something which is very critical for the success of this institute, success of this function, if you want to bring the credibility and respect. Be advisor to leadership. Let me tell you, mostly corner rooms are very alone, isn't it? Corner rooms are very alone. You would have seen most of the big companies when they collapse. Recently, there's one cab company that, the gentleman picked up some spa bills for 41 lakhs and picked up some other wonderful stuff, borrowed the money and used it for personal use. There is a power in the position, but is there a right person who is advising? Are you seen and used as a sounding board? Or you are just a doer? If you are a doer, then you will do your job, and you will do your job rightly. But you will not be used for strategic aspect of the business. So therefore, it is very much important, and this is, some of you may not like it, but this is an important aspect. Remember, if you are not at the table, probably you are in the menu. People will eat you. If you are not useful to the business, you are not useful. Let's not start talking about HR is great, HR will do this, we do this. No. You need to create value. If you are not creating value for the enterprise, you will not be respected. You will not be liked. So be an influencer, make your voice heard. Don't just comply to the rule. Making policy, this is what policy says. No, sorry. You are there to partner business, you are there to grow the business, you are there to bring the technology. Be a partner in that. So, when you leave this at 5:30, this room, these all are just some 5 takeaways that I want to take it from my session. Okay? Not very big ones. You need to make yourself relevant and evolve to the changing dynamics, the changing requirement of technology, business, customers, and other functions. If you are not able to do that, you will become irrelevant. Build to adapt. Your skills should be adaptable enough. You need to have, just giving a simple example. Today we have structures which are more of a plug and play. What we call in the agile space, we have the structures wherein people come together, okay, solve the problem and then dismantle. They are not the hard-coded structure as we have. It's important to make your role rather than taking your role. So lead it by the front. Make sure when you go, and all of you, those who are youngers or those who are with experience, we remember one person, we still give the example of that person who held the line in the difficult situation. All of us do. All of us do, whether it is politics, sports, our own professions. These all are the people who are remembered for long. Otherwise, you will be a person who will be in the office, in the chair. When somebody asks about you, people will go to the Outlook to check who you are. Let's not be the person who is searched by the Outlook. Have a zoom in, zoom out approach and be at the table. Be at the table, be respected, be regarded. And this is not going to happen. I also heard in certain forums that, there's not a respect. You need to get that. You need to do that. You need to garner that. There's not somebody who's going to give it offer to you in the platter. Right? These are some nice books that I read, so I thought of just suggesting it to you. Those of you who are avid readers, you may like to read these books. I found them a little relevant. And thank you very much. So let me know if there are any questions. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, Ranjanji, for such an insightful talk. And he made my job so easier by himself giving the takeaways. But still, it was so relevant, and the things which are very relevant today, he has spoken of it from his experience. So I would like to invite any questions from the audience. Before that, I had one question from my side, sir.
Yes, sir.
The HR role becomes very difficult if you are in a small company or a big company, when the company is not doing well. Company is not doing well. Still, you got to retain people, you got to motivate people and get the best out of them. Now that role is quite difficult. So how would you suggest, what would you suggest how to be a good HR person to have these factors around you and still working?
So you're clean bolding me. Anyway, I think this is very relevant, okay? And every organization goes through the oscillation of good time and not so good time. And there are moments when we need to take difficult decisions. Maybe if organization is not doing well, we will cut the cost. We will not be giving them the merit increases or the annual increases. The bonus or annual incentives will come down. What I'm trying to say here is, are you doing it with honesty, integrity, and with continuous communication?
Okay.
I think everyone understands that this is the bad time. Whether it is a big company or a small company. If there is a clear, consistent communication with honesty and integrity, and you have established yourself in the good time, okay, then you will be able to establish yourself in the bad time. Second part B of my response will be, I'll beg to disagree, not tend to. I'll beg to disagree with you in terms of responding. I think such times are for the entire leadership, wherein the entire leadership need to put the shoulder to the wheel, okay? It cannot be only one person. We can't be saying that go and announce that there is a lockout. Let HR person go. I don't think so. When we do that, there's generally a fumbleness. I will say, okay, sir, let both of us go. I will start, but you be there, okay? Because maybe they're asking certain questions that you are good at answering. So I think to me, it's a common goal for entire organization to communicate that this is not a good time. And let me tell you, all the organizations go through that. There's hardly any organization that I have seen which will not go through the bad time. And still people don't move out. I think sir was saying here when he was here that, hardly any person has moved out. I'm sure it will not be that every year the balance sheet was, giving green shoots and green shoots and green shoots. It's not going to happen. There are tough times when you are going to have the difficult days. And those difficult days first come onto the employees itself, because somebody said that you are not only an asset, but you are equally a liability. Okay? So then suddenly the assets start translating into the liability.
Thank you so much, Sir Ranjanji. We have time for 2 questions. Yeah, please, Chani.
Sir, I have a question. A lot of pre-assumptions are associated with the HR job, particularly when the student starts. So, a lot of students take up HR, which I have done education institute also. So now, I see a lot of girls take up because they assume it to be a less demanding job. And when I see here, I see a lot of men. So, the girls take up HR in their initial careers, and eventually they opt out, and it is the men who's at the top position. So I want you to, 2 things. One is, what in the early career should the students or the young people who are there, assume that what is in store for them, and how can they be motivated, trained, and prepare themselves for a bigger career?
I think, if I have to, I'll again respond this question in 2 parts. I think we are seeing a significant improvement of women in all the spoke of life over the last 15, 20 years, and HR is not an exception. However, when I look at complex problems, and this is not getting tilted towards a gender, but I feel they are able to manage it much better than the men can do. I have seen many a times when there are difficult situations, you give it to the lady, she'll not get as hassled. And this I'm not telling you about country India only, I'm telling you across. So I take care of around 13, 14 countries I have seen. If there is a strike that I have in Singapore or in Vietnam, I have a lady HR director. Means I'll be little getting hassled that if customer is getting impacted, but she'll keep her cool. So in my view, the first thing, the core, the gate is your subject matter expertise. Okay, that does not get compromised irrespective of the gender that you are. But certain mental wiring, in my view, gives little edge to the women candidate. Okay, means I do not want to form my opinion on this, but this is just my experience. Globally, I've seen that if you put the 2 people, maybe there is a tendency of 55, 45, or maybe little lesser, but I'll tend to go by that. So to me, it is but if you're a very nice, very sweet guy at heart, HR is not a profession for you. Please don't come to HR. Okay? You need to take very, very difficult, and some of you are smiling as if we all are crooks, we are not. But the point I'm trying to say is, you need to have that smile, okay, on your face and still take the difficult decisions. If you don't have this inheritance, okay, or you are not able to develop it, I'm sorry, you will tend to fail irrespective of gender.
One more question, please. Please.
Thank you. Thanks so very much, Mr. Mishra, for letting with your knowledge. So this was all about HR to fix their places on the table. I mean to say in the business processes with the board. Okay. Now I would like to seek your opinion for HR. What kind of advisories you would issue or you will open to create organization future ready?
So I think your question is, what advisory will I give to HR
people so that they can play a role to make organization future ready?
So I think my central theme or cardinal theme is going to be around what I stated. Okay, I think you need to embrace the technology. Okay, I'm not saying you start coding, isn't it? But do you know how to use Power BI to drive your decisions related to the people? I think that's going to come. And please remember, the younger generation that is coming up are far more tech savvy and data centric than the generation that I belong to. Okay? So that is very important for each one. If you are not embracing, then the person with 10 years, 12 years of experience will embrace it and outclass you. Okay? So that's one thing. Second thing, I think you need to have authenticity in your role. Okay? As I was responding to sir's question, that, if you are not authentic during good time, you will never be seen as authentic during the bad time. So I think that is one advisory that I will request. And don't try to be in the role, make the role, define the role. Otherwise, it will be challenging for us as we go forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ranjanji, for an excellent session and such in-depth answers to the questions we had posed. It was a great pleasure to listen to you, and we will definitely get so many lessons from it. May I now request Mr. Mukesh Kumar, Head HR from Tata Consulting Services, to come to the stage and present a token of remembrance, please. To Mr. Ranjan. Shri Ranjan ji. May I request Parkhaji to take the session forward, Director of Jet Logistics. Please come over and take the proceedings. Thank you.